Hello, freshman parents, and welcome to our last installment of our Transition to High School meetings. We started last October where I kind of gave you the big overview of the programs at Walton, both curricular, extracurricular, all the things kids could get involved in. And then we met in March in our lives team meeting. We kind of really talked about the exact classes for just this year and making wise decisions and how to pick the right classes. And then in August, I got to see you face to face to kind of talk about just those things you need to know to get the year started. And here we are having our last installment where we really want to talk about the future, what to expect the 4 years academically. So I just want to do a little academic walkthrough, go over a few of those academic pieces. Lisa Fay is going to join me to kind of talk to you through Naviance and our community service recording process. So let's get started. So let's quickly review what you need to graduate from high school. Every student must earn a total of 23 total units. That's 4 units of English, 4 of math, 4 of science, 3 in social studies, 3 in any combination of career technology, fine arts, or foreign language, 1 unit of health and personal fitness, and 4 electives. While it is not required to have any foreign language, do remember that the University System of Georgia requires 2 years, and many other states require 3. So it's really the college search that needs to help you guide what courses to take in terms of world language. Also, the state of Georgia offers diploma seals in dual language, biliteracy, fine arts, career ready, and civic engagement. These are given to students who go above and beyond the classroom learning and challenge themselves in those areas, also embedding community service. So I certainly encourage you to go look on the Georgia DOE website for further details. Because we are on a traditional schedule, every class that your child takes earns a half a unit of credit. So by the end of the year, they have a full credit in every subject area. Students, in order to be a 10th grader next year, must earn 5 units of credit, including 1 full credit in math, science, and English. By 11th grade, they must have completed 10 full units, including 2 units in math, science, and English. And by 12th grade, they must have 16 total units. This is different than sports eligibility if your child intends to play a sport. They do have to pass 2.5 units this semester in order to be eligible for the spring. They must have 5 total units by 10th grade. Notice that it does not include any specific course areas of units earned. In 11th grade, they must have 11 units, which is more than the requirement for promotion. And in 12th grade, they must have 17, which is again more than required for promotion. This year, all of our progress reports will be posted to ParentView versus printed. Here are the dates for progress reports. Remember, it is not until the end of the semester that those final grades are posted to a transcript. What is posted to a transcript is what is your official school academic record and then goes to the colleges. So the final grade after final exams in December and the final grades after final exams in May is the final grade posted to the transcript. So what should you do if you realize your child needs help in their academic classes? Well, first of all, there should be an expectation that every student is doing about an hour and a half of homework in college prep classes per night. That includes their studying. If your child's taking a more rigorous course load, then you would expect that time to be increased. It is consistency of practice that is essential in high school for success. So students should be reading their class notes, rereading or reading ahead, forming a study group with their classmates. They just need to make sure that they are not sharing work. They need to do their makeup work if they are absent. And really, a lot of our teachers are saying they're not seeing a lot of kids yet in office hours. And we know that web is just picking up, but every teacher has 2 times per week to help, plus web, and they want to help your students. Please, if your student is struggling, send them to those times with their teacher and any other teacher that teaches the same subject. They are happy to help. All the algebra teachers will help any student that comes. We offer peer tutoring through all of our honor societies. If you go to the Walton website, go to the student drop-down, there is a student tutoring program page, gives you all the details on how to sign up. At Walton High School, we do have a no extra credit policy and we do not do retesting. Parents, if you have questions or concerns, I really suggest you reach out to the teacher. The teacher is with your child every day in class, can probably give you the best advice on ways to help your child improve or what they're seeing in the classroom. If you want to schedule a conference with a teacher or all of your teachers, please contact the counselor and they can help get that set up for you. This year, our Walton Governance Board, which is part of our governing body of our Walton Charter School, decided to suspend our attendance incentive, but we do still have an academic incentive for finals. Students who have an A prior to the final exam, regardless of absences, may exempt their final, but they can only do that for 2 classes per semester. Walton does have an honor code, and academic integrity is expected on all assignments. Students need to do their own work unless the teacher specifies that they are able to work together. We do have Turnitin, which is plagiarism software, and most of our departments run original written work through there, which will tell you whether or not it has been copied. Minor infractions, such as copying homework or classwork, will get you a 0 on the assignment and an N in conduct. And a major infraction or a second minor infraction will get you a 0 on the assignment, would forfeit a 4.0 pass, and get a student a U in conduct. So the next thing I really want to talk about is GPA. For those of you who are my age, we had a GPA. It was 1 GPA, but times have certainly changed. And there are different GPAs and different criteria. So I really want to go into just what one student's GPA would look like in a variety of different aspects at Walton, at college, at Hope, and at the NCAA. How is the grade point average determined? Well, students earn points based on their final grade. So for an A, they get 4 points. For a B, they get 3. For a C, they get 2. For a D, they get 1. And for an F, they get 0. You add your points together and divide by your total number of classes. Honors classes earn an extra half quality point. AP, foreign language year 4 and higher, earn a full quality point. So let me give you an example. If you get an A in your AP Human Geography class, that is a 5. If you get a B in your honors biology class, that would be a 3.5. A student's final weighted GPA must be 3.5 or higher to be an honor graduate at Walton High School. I really like to look at this slide because I think it's very important for students to realize how just a small change in one grade, a few points here or there, really make a huge difference. As you can see the difference between having a 3.0 and a 3.5 just by a little change in English and physics. Everything else, and algebra, everything else is the same. I think sometimes students don't realize, especially in 9th grade, how big a difference it is between, say, an 89 and a 90. So certainly this is a good thing to go over with your child so that they, especially as they get close to the end, that they realize how important it is to study for those final exams. So this is a view of a Walton High School transcript. In the right-hand corner, you can see the weighted GPA of 3.895, the unweighted GPA of 3.579. You can see the total attempted credits and the total number of credits earned. Obviously, this student has taken more rigorous coursework. Earning extra quality points is how their weighted GPA is higher than their unweighted GPA. Please note that the classes they took in middle school that are high school level classes are printed on the transcript, and your student would have gotten those the first few days of school when we were going around having teachers verify they were in the correct courses. Those do not count in the high school GPA, but they are posted on the transcript. So what's interesting about this is I'm getting 2 examples, Georgia Tech and Auburn. They take the high school transcript as is. They do not recalculate a special GPA or anything like that. Whatever Walton sends them is exactly what they consider for transcript for GPA when considering admissions. So for these 2 schools, the student's GPA in the admission process is a 3.895. But that GPA is altered when you start looking at UGA or the Hope Scholarship. UGA and the Hope Scholarship really only look at core classes. the math, the science, the English, the social studies, the world languages, which includes Latin. Now, every college also considers rigor in the schedule, but the GPA they do recalculate. So for example, that 3.895 weighted GPA for Walton High School is a 3.583 for the Hope Scholarship. So since we're talking about Hope Scholarship, let's just go into a little more detail. The Hope Scholarship GPA is based on all core classes, including those core academic electives. So for example, if your child decides to take a class like sociology, which is a social studies academic elective, that does count. It is not just the required courses for graduation. It's whether or not it's in a core class category. You must have a 3.0 GPA or higher based on the Hope GPA calculation, and they must have 4 rigorous courses as defined by Hope. That doesn't mean honors and AP. They have their own set of rigorous courses, and you would need to look at georgiafutures.org to get that exact list. The Hope Scholarship pays about 80% of a tuition bill. Now, the Zell Miller Scholarship is 100% tuition. It is a 3.7 calculated core plus getting a 1200 SAT or a 26 ACT score in one sitting. The Hope Scholarship also has something called the Hope Grant, which might just be the best kept secret. There is no minimum GPA from high school. It allows the students to get a diploma or a technical certificate through the Hope with Hope money. There are also Hope Career Grants in certain industries of which there is high demand. These are great ways for our students to get work ready immediately after school for free. Now, if you think your child might be interested in college athletics, another GPA that will be of interest to you is the NCAA academic eligibility. Now, they have different requirements based on a Division I school, Division II, Division III school, but I'm just going to highlight a Division I school. They look at 16 core courses, and they will choose the best grades you have of these 6 to come up with your 16. And the reason I say that is it says you only need 3 years of math. Well, to graduate from high school, you've had 4. So you can pick your best 3 years of math to go into this core GPA. But it's 4 years of English, 3 of math, 2 of a science, then 1 extra year of any English, math, or science, 2 years of social studies, and 4 additional years from those above categories and or world language. You must have a minimum 2.3 GPA calculated this way. They have to complete 10 core courses before senior year, and there is a sliding GPA SAT scale. All of that can be found just by Googling NCAA academic eligibility. So we are reaching the end of the first 6 weeks of this semester, and you might already be thinking about second semester. Do know that kids come in January and they get a whole new schedule. New teachers, might be a new order. And that is just, we do that for a number of reasons, and we think it's good for students to work with different teachers. And so one of the things that we do, you will see the copy of the course requests coming out to your students. And then we will do drop add, which is for elective classes only. Students cannot change any year-long core classes. They can just change their 1 semester electives. If they're in a year-long elective, they do have to stay in that. Some teachers may want to recommend a level change of the core classes, and they will let you know that if that's something that they're recommending during drop add. And then any waiver that you would like to submit would be due on November 15th. For the sophomore year, we will register for classes at school. It is not a process that goes home. It is all done at school in early March. After that, you will get to come to a freshman advisement, and you will be able to see what your child in fact registered for, what the teachers recommended, what electives they put, and then any changes can be made by May 1st for that waiver deadline. Please know the waiver deadline is always May 1st, and we cannot accommodate summer changes because I have to hire teachers. We have to hire teachers, we have to decide how many sections of everything we're going to have. So changes after that process has happened, after May 1st, become very difficult. So if you want to ensure your child gets to take the classes that you two have picked together, it is essential that those waivers are due by May 1st. So as I was just alluding to, we register every year in March for the following year. That is done at school. It does not go home, but we do ask the students to all take a picture of their registration form so they can share it with you. Your current teachers always make the recommendation for course placement and level of course, and then you always have the waiver process. What is important is to reach for the maximum level that is appropriate for your child. That is different for every child. Within families, within friend groups, you need to have a good balance. Yes, the colleges always favor higher course levels, and you have to keep in mind that there is a certain amount of rigor depending on the competitive level of the college. But you have to look at your individual child and think about what activities they're in, as well as what they can handle and what is going to not hinder the GPA. So it's a fine balance. And it's one of those things that we will give you the course options early in before that registration date. It's really important you sit down with your child, start having these critical conversations before the actual registration date so that we can go ahead and get them registered properly from the start. So once you've had a good conversation with your child, remember that registration is a commitment to the coursework. We always get requests in the middle of the summer, once school started, for changes in courses, and people sometimes don't like the answer no, but we have a responsibility to schedule all students in balanced class sizes so that the teachers can appropriately teach a class that's reasonable. The more time they can spend with your individual child, the better. So please know that this registration process is very important and is a commitment. Honors and AP class levels place more emphasis on critical reading. Where do you see that the most? In standardized test scores, as well as the rigor required for college acceptance. In March of the freshman year, the student and the parent and guardian will meet in small groups and get an overview from the counselors of how to create a roadmap for your 4 years in high school to make sure that you not only graduate, but are prepared for whatever it is your child wants to do next. You will have an opportunity, as I said, to see the registration form at that time and see what the teachers have recommended. So that gives you a nice little overview as a rising sophomore parent to still be involved in that process since the registration forms don't go home. Now let's talk a little bit about each year and the academic testing and college planning that you should be prepared for. So in ninth grade, as we talked about in August, that PSAT is October 13th. I think it is essential for as many students, ninth graders, as possible to take this test. As I said to y'all, it helps them just get used to the idea of a standardized test, understand the structure, understand the instructions, work on sitting that long for a test. So certainly we encourage you to go into your My Payments Plus, sign up for the PSAT. If you sign up, you will automatically be registered. Also, any student who is enrolled in algebra or biology as a freshman will take end of course tests. That's your Georgia Milestones end of course tests. They do count 20% of the final grade, so they should be expecting those second semester. And then any of our students who are in AP Human Geography this year would be taking that AP exam in May 5th and having the opportunity to earn college credits this year. In 10th grade, every student, the state of Georgia pays for the PSAT, so every student takes the PSAT. Very important that you start concentrating on your studies. You have to realize that when you apply to college, most students apply in fall of senior year. So the transcript only has 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. So 10th grade is a year of really strong academic study. Start showing more increased rigor of curriculum. And then again, if you did not take biology as a freshman, you would have the biology end of course test that year. In 11th grade, we do that advisement in the fall. So it's a time to come back in, look at the roadmap, see where you are, get some more information about getting college prepared and taking standardized tests. So you will do that with your child in the fall. PSAT, that is the junior PSAT, is what counts towards the National Merit Semifinalist Program. It's also a way to simulate that test. Certainly encourage every 11th grader to take the PSAT that year so that you can simulate that experience. Most of our students complete their standardized testing in junior year, so it's a good start to the process of taking that SAT and ACT that year, which we certainly encourage. Many of our students will continue to take AP exams, and you're going to start that post-secondary research. Really, by that spring, students need to start looking and narrowing, thinking about what kind of schools they want, large schools, small schools. That helps them narrow that list as they go into the 12th grade. There also will be end of course tests in American Lit and US History. So by the start of 12th grade, we usually ask students to have that list created of colleges that they're interested in. They might take a last SAT and ACT. They're going to complete the application process, the scholarship process for applications. That can be a little time consuming, but definitely well worth the efforts. Making that final choice of schools, completing all the financial aid forms, and then taking their last AP exams. So just in summary, what should a 9th grader be doing now? Well, what's always most important is when you're thinking about college, is to do the best you can in the classes you are in. That is first and foremost. You've got to do the absolute best you can because GPA, most colleges, is the #1 factor. You also need to make sure the rigor of the classes are comparable to the rigor of the expectation of that college. So if your child starts to say, I want to go here or there, it's good to go ahead and take a look and see are you matching what that expectation would be. The SAT and the ACT, while this year many university systems have put them on hold, if they're not put on hold by the time your children are seniors, that GPA and that SAT are the major factors in terms of admission. You also then have recommendations, essays, and student activities. Colleges certainly want a community of learners, a diverse community of learners. So they want students that can really contribute to that community in a meaningful way. Now I'm going to pass this over to Lisa Fay, one of our counselors, who's going to talk to you about Naviance and community service hours.
Welcome to Naviance Student. Naviance is a college career and life readiness platform that we utilize with students from 9th to 12th grade. Feel free to take a look at this video. You must be in slideshow mode to access this video and get a wonderful overview of all the features that Naviance has to offer. One feature in Naviance we wanted to highlight were the scattergrams. Our families really enjoy looking at these in their Naviance account. The way you would access this is under the college tab. You could search for a college and bring up the scattergram for a specific college. And what this does is it highlights for you the average accepted GPA and test scores for the admitted students from Walton. And you can see the green indicates the students that were accepted and the red indicates the students that were not. Both students and parents have a Naviance account. Students can access their Naviance account by going to the Walton website and clicking the baseball at the top right of the screen. From there, they will enter their Office 365 information and then be automatically logged into their account. For parents, if you had not previously registered for a Naviance account in the past, an email went out last week with a registration code that you can use to create your account. If you have previously registered and do not remember your username and password, please feel free to reach out to me at Lisa Fay, and my email address is listed in the slide. Volunteer hours at Walton High School are not required but encouraged. We like to see that our students get involved in their community and give back in meaningful ways. If your student would like to earn a volunteer cord, they must have 180 hours of verified and approved volunteer service. It is important to note that service hours must be recorded in X2Vol, our online tracking system, in the school year in which they were performed. If you have any questions about what meets the criteria, in the X2Vol dashboard, it lists very clearly what it can and cannot be considered for community service. Students can locate X2Vol by logging into their Naviance account, which is again by going to the Walton website and then using their Office 365 login information. And then at the bottom of the Walton homepage, they will see X2Vol, which is highlighted in a purple box. From there, it will link them to X2Vol, where they then will be able to log in their hours. It is important to note that their hours must be verified by an adult that is not another student or parent.
I certainly appreciate you joining me for this presentation. I think I just want to leave you with one last piece of information, which is where to go find anything you would need to know about Walton High School. If you go to waltonhigh.org, we have so much information, academic, how to find a certificate of enrollment for when your child's ready for that learner's permit. Certainly just go up in the corner, type what you're looking for in the search button, and most likely everything is on there for you. I also want to encourage you to sign up for the PTSA eBlast. You are not automatically registered for those, so if you've not registered, they give you a weekly update of everything going on at the school. I try to minimize using ParentVUE and CTLS for information coming directly from me, but there will be times that I want to send out some very specific information, maybe with deadlines that I think are very important, just as a follow-up maybe to district information or just what's going on here at Walton, but I will try and use that sparingly for you. And the last place is the counseling website. Our counseling website has tons of information about colleges and academics and support. If your child is having any social emotional issues and you need extra support, they've got resources on there. When you do search on the Walton website, it will not search the counseling website, so you do have to visit that separately. So I certainly hope that this presentation has been informative, and if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to your child's counselor. Thanks so much.